two relatively untouched rosters coming through from last season, and that is very rare to see in Season 3. Almost every single roster had very considerable roster changes, with the exception of these two. So this is quite interesting as well. The storylines coming through from Season 2.
These are two of the teams who actually have almost more players than anyone else.
They actually have a bit of history as well, Ben, because they played against each other in the same group last season. Serenity beat Pixel 3-1. So in this case, Melbourne Mavericks and Freshman Class respectively. But we're expecting Melbourne Mavericks to have the advantage today. We'll see whether or not that is going to be the case.
I've got Freshman winning this, Jordan. I'm going out on a limb to say that right now as we start off into the thick of things here on, well...
Oh, he's still alive.
Almost.
And not going to be so easy to get out of here, though, as Virginia, to be honest. Because he doesn't have room to swing. Oh, that's huge!
He did it! So good.
What a play.
What a great play.
Unfortunately, he still dies because he was out of position for so long.
He spent like half an hour down in the well. It's like the little kid who got lost down there. Eventually does manage to get out.
That's the worst feeling as a Wrecking Ball player, where you're stuck hanging and you can't swing hard enough to get yourself back up.
Does that happen to you a lot? Occasionally.
The worst offender is on Lijiang Tower on Gardens, where you can like swing around the wall and then you get stuck in between the wall and the bridge. And you're just hanging there and you can't really swing out of it very easily.
Well, that is embarrassing, isn't it? You don't want to do that. But it's the Mavericks to kick things off. Already up to 23%. Knox here on the McCree. We saw a bit of this play either yesterday, I think, or last week. Again, with the Orisa shield. And Deadeye is up already, throws it through.
Great Deadeye.
Yeah. Great work.
You don't always expect to get a kill out of Deadeye. It's a lot of the time used to zone players out of position, but to get a Zenyatta, that is huge.
The Mavericks are all over Freshman.
I think at that point, Freshman Class were pretty committed to jumping off in the end anyway. But this is a great start for Melbourne Mavericks. They immediately started off with the McCree. Koi was playing Farah, didn't have much of an impact. Obviously, getting stuck in the well for the Wrecking Ball as well is not an ideal start to the map either. So it's kind of been going perfectly from square one for Melbourne Mavericks at this point. Rotating around nicely. The dive, though, coming in from Winston. Virginia very low indeed.
Yeah, Supercharger going to come out there and goes down almost immediately, but it does not matter. The fight has been won by Melbourne. They'll continue to push forward. They will lose Forbles, but I think it's a little bit inconsequential at this point. Bad. Going to be staggered, or at least going to take a while.
Yeah. If you're shooting the Supercharger, you're not shooting enemy heroes, and that means Melbourne Mavericks are going to still be putting out a little bit more damage where it matters.
Almost up to 100%. Melbourne in prime position. Look at all these ultimates as well.
Yeah, exactly. I don't see Freshman Class taking this. There's Rally, there's Transcendence, there's Sound Barrier. How do you kill this Melbourne Mavericks roster right now?
Another Deadeye coming out from Knox, looking for the pick. Almost running out of time. In the end, finds no one, but has managed to zone them off the point all the way through to 99%. Virginia, Prowler, and probably Base God in just a second, all ready to use their ultimates here for Freshman Class, but it is their last hope. And I'm not sure if they're going to be able to make this happen.
Look at all the armor that Melbourne Mavericks have right now. Freshman Class are going to have a big difficulty dealing with this. Transcendence still yet to come as Bobbles eventually throws it out. Winter has been knocked off the edge by the jump.
Again! How? This self-destruct, though, will find Knox. And Freshman Class almost find, probably lack. They find 3 kills, which is probably like kills 7, 8, and 9 for the round.
Nox's Deadeye kind of screwed him up a little bit there because he couldn't get out of range of the self-destruct. I think Winter was very close to the edge when Virginia jumped in, and that must have booped him off. So you do get displaced a little bit when a Winston lands right next to you with the leap. Melbourne Mavericks, though, they do concede the point.
Graviton Surge coming out from Freshman. They're going to be able to do anything with it is the question. Well, Virginia finds Winter. It's a 1-for-1 trade. Brigida for Brigida. It's going to make almost everyone happy except those support players. Primal Rage comes through as well. Melbourne just trying to get back into the point, but for now, Freshman. Virginia there with the Primal Rage on the Winston is going to keep everyone just that little bit back. Sound barrier here for Melbourne. They're going to now push out to the point with this extra HP, with this shield available. The rally popped as well. That one's going to come out from Winter. Freshman Class return to one of their own. But in this scenario, I was going to say, it looked to me like maybe Melbourne will be able to find the win, but they are slowly getting forced back, at least for now.
Well, Mini's found an isolated support. Zenyatta under pressure right now, but Mini, in the end, is going to be the one that will go down. Looks like an armor pack came across from Koi, and Base God will survive. It's a crucial kill. Winter getting onto Virginia there. Nox will survive. Forbles with the Transcendence. No, he won't survive. He doesn't have a personal bubble.
Where did he even go? Got knocked out. And it's knocked down. See you later. The Zenyatta was just was still in trance and gets forced out.
Personal
Boy's
bubble
gone
used
down.
too early.
Yeah, it's all about timing. It's all about timing, isn't it? Primal Rage going to come out here from Virginia, but not fighting on the point right now. 99-99. It looked like earlier Melbourne were going to get this 100-0. Now, clearly that is not the case. The answer, or the question, should I say, is who is going to come out on top.
Still looks like it's going to be Melbourne Mavericks for me right now, with all of these picks being secured on their side of things. Carroll getting 4 balls. May not play as much of an impact as he would have liked it to. Great kill from Oily actually to get bad in the end, even though he does get demech'd by the remech animation. Nox has just gotten booped off by Prowler, so still a chance here for freshman
excess
class.
on the Doomfist. No, he's gone. Virginia back on Hammond.
Back on the ball.
Yeah, Wrecking Ball going to go down. 2 Wrecking Balls, double Wrecking Ball. And after all of that, we're only 1 round in. And Melbourne will pick up well here on Ilios.
I think we might be in for a long series here, Ben. These two teams do look pretty evenly matched. You want a McFlurry? Some nuggets?
I'm not really sure what I want.
Are you
like
the kind
Sundays.
of person that dips your Macca's chips into soft serves?
I do like to dip the chips in this, but the soft serve obviously has to have like melted
not
a little
necessarily
bit.
a soft serve, but a sundae or whatever.
Yeah,
It's all
yeah.
the same ice cream.
Yeah. I like into Sundays, yeah. Chips, but not nugs.
Nah, definitely not nugs. That's too far. I do chips, but
I'm not an animal.
Nox is going to go over onto the Widow. Not something that we have seen so much this season, but definitely a very impactful hero on this round in particular. On Ruins, some very nice sightlines to play with as a Widow.
Oh!
There you go.
Boom!
Bring back Widowmaker meta.
Okay, so that's 1 kill. What about the other 10 that we need here to make this work?
Not one's enough, Ben.
No, obviously. Obviously one's enough, Jordan, but we've seen this, I guess, time and time again in the GOAT meta with the Widow, that you can find maybe 1 or 2, but eventually it's not enough and you just get charged down.
That's huge.
That's 2 big hits there onto Virginia again.
Yeah. As long as you're calling that damage.
This fight in the in its tracks even.
Doesn't even need to necessarily be a kill. If you're getting a headshot onto a tank, that is such a huge chunk of HP taken away. And then everyone just follows up on it. Nox looking for some more here. Doesn't quite manage to connect the shot, but has been very solid so far on the Widowmaker. Really putting pressure onto freshman class. That said, Exerst, if need be, can swap over to the Widowmaker himself. Very accomplished on the Widow, is what we saw last season. Would love to see a bit of Widowmaker action out from both sides here on Ruins.
Looking for another. Melbourne already up to 40%. You can see as well the Infrasight available here for Nox. Looking for a pick. As soon as he doesn't get one, though, that is when the fight goes downhill. But Winter's going to be following up. If it's not Nox, it's Sombra. Virginia's down now. This makes this tough. This fight really quite tough for freshmen. They're going to have to fall back. FMC.
Timing not quite right there for Virginia. I think freshman class are really starting to put some pressure on themselves to get work done before the Widowmaker does. And as a result, they've sort of timed their dives poorly. They're not communicating properly. They're not going in together. Virginia was far too far ahead, too overextended compared to the rest of his team. It is going to force the change up from Exerst, as I spoke about, now onto Widowmaker himself. Looks like that has been spotted out, and Nox will eliminate Exerst straight off the bat. How's that for how you're going?
Well, I said Nox could only succeed so long here with the Widow. Nox doing everything he can to prove me wrong. Doing quite a good job of it. Finally uses the Infrasight, falls back as the Winston is forced to charge down. And it's actually Nox who does get the kill there as well, swapping across to
Nox.
the SMG.
So solid right now on the Widowmaker. Takes down Exerst twice, and he has been an absolute terror for freshman class to deal with. This is going to be a 2-0 for Melbourne Mavericks.
Nox has single-handedly won his team this round.
That's the power of Widowmaker at times. EMP coming out there from Winter. Not enough to keep him alive, but enough to win the fight still for Melbourne Mavericks. And that is a very dominant performance, at least on Ruins.
There's your 100-0. And Melbourne come out with a quick 2-0 against freshman class here on Ilios. On well, it was a little bit less impressive, but the second time round, there was no mistaking. That was all them.
Yeah, exactly.
All Knox, really.
I think it's a bit of a tell for how the rest of this series might go. For me, I felt like Melbourne Mavericks were, by and large, the stronger team. It wasn't... I don't think it was as close as 99-99 on that first point. It could have really gone to 100-0 and 100-0 on both rounds there of Ilios. I mean, it didn't start off particularly well with Virginia doing this. Like, if you get stuck in the first fight like that, I think the stat is something like 64% of the teams that won the first fight in a control round then ended up winning that round.
Yeah, but that's...
So that's a pretty good conversion rate.
That's I think,
or 64% of the time, not
yeah.
64% of the team.
No, I get it. Well, it's probably the same thing, but...
Yeah.
I guess the point is that, yeah, when you have an advantage, you are more likely to win. It's the old State of Origin fact, right? Like, 75% of the teams who win the first State of Origin end up winning the series. Yeah, well, of course, you're 1-0 up.
Because they only need to win one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is very much a game of momentum, a game of advantages. So it's, again, one of those things where
it's just that snowball factor.
If you're better at the head-to-head when everyone's at 0%, when no one has an advantage, then obviously that gives you an advantage across the rest of the game.
Yeah, I mean, but I think the thing is, like, there can be a lot less fights when it comes to control. You notice how fast control maps are compared to the rest of the maps in the pool when we're looking at Hybrid Assault and Escort. There's a lot more opportunities for the team that's at a deficit to kind of reset and build ultimates and build themselves into a position that they can actually win from. Whereas on control, you might only get one opportunity to have one proper fight if you're that team that has lost the initial fight. And if you don't win that fight, you've used all your ultimates, you have to come in for the final fight against the time as well with no ultimates available to you. So the comeback mechanic, I mean, it's not really there, I don't feel like.
And that's what Heist had, right? That's what they were able to do.
They were able to win that fight. But if they don't, then obviously that's where things fall apart. And that's exactly kind of what we saw here for freshman class. Again, they did win that comeback fight, but not on Ruins. They didn't even get the comeback fight on Ruins.
The other problem they had there on Ruins was because they were losing players so early on. It's not even like they really had... It's not like they were dry pushing in, fighting for 10 seconds,
ults,
losing a player. They weren't able to build ults. They're having to fall back almost immediately. They were getting destroyed very, very quickly, which really does not lend itself to that comeback mechanic.
Yeah, and that's the power of a Widowmaker. We've talked about it time and time again. Last season, Widowmaker can take the game away herself. I don't know how much more Widow we will be getting to see, but if Nox is feeling it, perhaps Numbani might not be a bad place.
It makes me happy to see that a good Widow is able to change things up a little bit. We've seen it a few times over the last couple of weeks where the Widows come in, but it's been, you know...
It's been less than impactful.
If you don't have the impact, as you say, you're down one player. Obviously, when you do have an impact, it's game over. So, Numbani, it's the pick here of FMC. I'm not so sure. After that, that was a very, very strong and impressive couple of rounds coming out from Melbourne, for sure.
A fairly dive-oriented map once again, at least to start off on point A. So freshman class will need to work on that coordination and ensure that their dives are in unison, which I didn't think was necessarily the case there on Ruins. Looks like Koi will be onto Genji. I don't know if that is going to persist, but it wouldn't be a bad choice with the Winston, Diva.
Look at that, Volskaya down, $2.69, Jordan. Because they had the Omnic attack.
Well, it's not going to be the Genji, unfortunately. Counter comp out for Melbourne Mavericks, though. Winter and Nox will be trying to hassle freshman class quite a lot.
I'm
Saw
ready.
This from Sydney Drop Bears yesterday.
Ready for the Doomfist. Let's have this impact winner. Ready for the big plays.
Just wants to find the support.
Straight into it. But gets stunned up by the looks of things almost immediately.
Yeah, Brigitte. A bit of a pain for Doomfist.
Yeah. But this first push coming out from FMC, not really having the impact that they wanted. To be fair, everyone's still alive. They just need to find the right timing to get back onto the point. Yeah, they've taken the high ground now. You're going to force everyone else off the high ground. You're going to start things off finally. 45 seconds in.
That's pretty big if they can find the kill onto Exhaust here or someone else when he can't barrier them. Exhaust actually does find Mini, but it's a trade for Virginia, so main tank for main tank. Not too bad just yet.
No one's even looking at Nox for now, and Winter just sitting here on the point waiting for them to come on board. But
Winter's being bullied by Koi.
Yeah, FMC actually having a pretty good start here on Numbani.
Yeah, that's the thing about playing the Doomfist as well, is if you can't find picks, if you can't have that impact, you're essentially useless. If you're standing there behind the cart pressing mouse 1, that's not why you pick Doomfist. And unfortunately, we didn't see anything really from Winter there that was particularly scary for a freshman class. So pretty solid first take, as you say. But a recontest straight away from Melbourne Mavericks. Try and burn some ults early.
Change it up a little bit here is Melbourne. Surprising no one. See if for FMC, you can see they do have that advantage. They've got all the ultimates to work with. The self-destruct, though, going to come through from Oily. Finds Virginia, and that's a very big pick.
Oh!
But that's even bigger from Bad.
Big, bad, bad. There you go. The gong ringing out. No Reinhardt shield for Melbourne Mavericks this time. Does make it a little bit easier to land the hole in one.
Yeah, that was simple. That was simple indeed.
Bad to the bone.
God, so done. FMC still with an advantage pushing around here towards Objective B. This second phase normally goes pretty quickly for most teams. Mini holding back, waiting to use this Primal Rage. Wants to get in on top of the supports, and well, is successful at least with the first part.
He won't kill base
God. Get forced back. That's essentially a wasted Primal Rage. Not having the impact that it needs. Second time, going again. Again, not having the impact, but see if they can follow up with the rest of the team. Maybe it's the distraction that Melbourne needed to find a couple other kills, and that's precisely what they're going to do.
Yeah, very good follow-up from Melbourne Mavericks, because Mini wasn't able to get anything done individually, at least in terms of being able to get some kills. What he does allow is a lot of pressure onto freshman class on their backline. They're in a bit of disarray and a bit of chaos, and that's one thing that you want to be doing as a main tank, is providing space for your team, not necessarily needing to be the one to get the kills yourself, but at least allowing others to get the kills. And when you're diving on a Zenyatta with armor, you are definitely not going to be the one getting the kill.
Graviton Surge coming out from Melbourne along with that self-destruct again. You can see the trance in there trying to keep them alive. It's not going to be successful.
Big.
2-3 tanks essentially goes down along with Koi. That's a win there for Melbourne. So as much as I was talking about how normally it doesn't take that long for teams to get to Objective B, Jordan, Melbourne have managed to find themselves a bit of a foothold here.
Yeah, they're getting that good couple of fights that they needed to, where they had the ult advantages. Now starts to swing a little bit back in the favor of freshman class here, and it's now their turn to mount the offensive.
The payload's fallen quite a distance back. They're going to get back on top of it now, and freshman with that offensive grab, that should be enough to get them moving as well. Going to find Oily. Look, Fluoro does find Prowler. I don't know if it's going to be enough though. Virginia uses the Primal Rage. Sound Barrier comes through as well. Melbourne still looking strong here on defense. It's actually two big apes, but both of them in the end do go down. So no Winston available for either team now, but still Melbourne looking in a decent spot. Graviton Surge going to come through from Nox, but they don't have the damage really to follow it up.
Well, one kill is again going to be enough right now for Melbourne Mavericks to keep things swinging in their favor. Sound Barrier goes down from freshman class, but for now, Melbourne Mavericks are the ones that are actually finding the kills they need. Bad, very close to going down on that baby diva. Forballs has the Transcendence here if necessary. Will decide to throw it out as the Graviton does come through from freshman class, and that'll be enough to keep Melbourne Mavericks alive again through another fight. With a minute and a half left on the clock here for freshman class, starting to look a little bit worrisome for them now, as they've had quite a few good cracks at phase B, and not a single one of them has really worked out.
Yeah, Melbourne have done a pretty good job here on defense. They were probably Objective A wasn't their greatest achievement. They did give it up pretty quickly. However, they have more than made up for that here, heading towards this second objective, and we'll see what they can do. Again, they have that ultimate advantage. Graviton Surge is going to be available, maybe even ready into the side of the bus. That's precisely where it goes. No one can stop that one. And look at them, they're all going to go down. Mini charges through. And now 55 seconds on the clock, and FMC are looking well out of shape.
Melbourne Mavericks, they are rotating through their ultimates very nicely. using only what they need to. Freshman class haven't really been given the opportunity to build any in that last fight either, so self-destruct here from Bad, pretty critical. But there's a Reinhardt Shatter available for Vinny and not for Virginia, so that could just shut it down, and it might just...
Shatter, see you later. Base God going to come out with the trance, doing what he can, but too little, too late. Virginia, Koi, Exerst all down. Melbourne steamrolling over the top of FMC all the way back into spawn. They do manage to find another couple of kills there at the end. That's
a huge stagger, Ben, because with that 15 seconds on the clock, if the respawns came out now, they would still have a chance to get on as a 6v6 fight, but this is a 3v6 that'll turn into another 3v6.
Yep.
So overtime was secured for a moment.
Going nowhere is where it's going. Prowler, unfortunately, not able to rollerblade his way onto the point, even with his favourite tunes playing. And Melbourne, quite successful here on defense.
Very successful on defense.
Very achievable. One would expect here on Numbani that Melbourne should be able to get this across the line. It's really going to be up to FMC here on defense. I'm not sure if this is defendable or not.
Anything's defendable. You can hold that first point. Doesn't even worry about how things went on the second phase of the map.
We've got a museum station.
We do. Not quite as nice, I don't think, as Numbani.
Oh, our station's okay.
Our museum station is quite nice, but...
It's super old.
Yeah. But, I mean, just in general, when you come out of the station, it's like you're straight in the middle of the city. But this is kind of nice, I think, Numbani.
Yeah, I guess, but the point is, I suppose, you probably... If you come out of a train, you probably do want to be in the middle of the city, because that's kind of like... That's the point, right?
Yeah.
To get you somewhere.
Yeah.
There's no Doomfist in the Sydney CBD, that's for sure.
Thank you very much for that. Be very bad if there was Doomfist in the middle of the city.
Well, he's here in Numbani, stealing the fist out of the thing on its way to the museum. And now it's gone.
Okay.
I don't even know what we're transporting anymore.
Freshman class on the defense have gone with the Farah. Not something that you see all too often, at least on the defense. Certainly on the attack, you will see Farah every now and then. But defense, maybe not so much. Still can have an effectiveness. It was something that we ran with a lot last season, but now this season, you'd be seeing maybe Sombra Doomfist a little bit more often than Farah Soldier. But Exerst and Koi going back onto some comfort picks here. See if they can make it work.
See whether this does play out in the favour of FMC or not. The longer this lasts, maybe the longer this suits FMC. But, as I say that, Melbourne have managed to find 50% here on the first objective to start things off. And they also managed to find Virginia. So now, no Winston available very, very quickly. Melbourne are capturing the payload and they're going to get it underway in quick time. 5 minutes, 45 seconds to go, 92 minutes. 92 minutes.
Koi just got absolutely wrecked by Nox. Great tracking on the Zaya. Well, this is exactly what you're supposed to do on Phase B. If you win Phase A very cleanly like that, there's usually some players that you can stagger, and they've managed to do that. So, essentially, Melbourne Mavericks have had to go all the way back to their spawn before they can even contest things.
Yeah.
Or freshman class, rather, have gone all the way back to their spawn.
Look at this mini, just up there, just fighting them. They're getting so much free room, and now they have this Graviton Surge available.
So much free payload push as well, Ben.
Yeah, exactly. It's gone so far. This fight already in their favour. Base God is dead. Out of it. Virginia very low as well. Stays alive. Baubles getting chased down here by Koi. At least they've got their Ana back. That's got to count for something.
I don't know what Baubles is even doing there. But he's managed to survive courtesy of the Transcendence. Going forward with Mini. Deep dive in 4 balls. This Zenyatta, absolutely nutty.
The payload continues to move up to 70 meters. Ever closer, not far now.
Oh, Virginia's gone onto the Wrecking Ball. That's when you know it is really dire straits for the defensive team. They're trying to stagger onto the point, but they might not even get there in time. Koi forced to use the Rocket Barrage, and no one's able to get out. That's the map win for Melbourne Mavericks. So easily done.
Very, very simple. And this is not the FMC we saw last week for sure. This is actually quite surprising. Most people probably suggested Melbourne's going to come away with the win, and now we're 2 maps in, and FMC aren't even coming to the party. So I'm not sure whether it's Melbourne playing that much better. Are they that much of a better team last season?
Well, yeah, I think
These
they were.
These 2 team comps, yeah, Yeah, the Melbourne Comp came out on top, but they weren't that much better.
Yeah, a big problem there for freshman class is that once they lost the first point, they were still using the Soldier, they were still using the Farah, but it's not as effective in the second phase of the map. As you could see, Koi was able to get absolutely nothing done on the Farah. Even when he threw the rocket barrage out, it was a nothing barrage. It was really a Hail Mary at that point.
Yeah. Look, Melbourne found the advantages. They played it out well, and to be fair, they were in control across almost every aspect of Numbani there. So they're going to go into halftime 2-0 up. Elfishguy feeling very good about themselves, I suspect, for FMC. They just need to regroup, think about last week, how they played up against Heist, a team who's now just beaten the top team in the group. And they go, you know, if we can take it to Heist, surely we can take it to Melbourne. What do we need to do differently?
Well, it was freshman class that were able to do a pretty good number on Numbani last week and then on to Hanamura. So we'll probably expect them to pick up Hanamura as the next map, given that they have lost here on Numbani. But now that they've lost Numbani very convincingly, one of the maps that they did actually beat Heist on, still a little bit concerned for this next map. And for the rest of this series now for freshman class, I think it's going to be tough to come back from that.
Well, it's halftime here between freshman class and the Melbourne Mavericks. We're going to take a very quick break. When we come back, more Overwatch action. We'll see you soon.